If you guys can hear me from this position, give me a thumbs up. Thank you. All right, allowing our body to soften into our props, opening our chest, supporting our head. If you're using a foam roller today, make sure you're supporting your hips as well. And let your breath move deep into the base of our ribs. Noticing when and how our body surrenders to this pose. If you're on a foam roller, let's roll to one side, slowly sliding off your foam roller. For those of you on blocks or blankets, draw your elbows to your side, hug your core in, lift your head, walk your elbows back, and then slowly come up. Releasing our props out from underneath us. Let's come to standing at the front of our mat. From our standing position, let's step one foot back and then step forward. Step our other foot back and then forward. We're just kind of finding some movement front to back from our hips. Start to bend our knee, pressing our heel down, adding on to that movement. Stance becomes a little bit wider. Keeping our shoulders over our hips, back heel pressing down, front knee bending. Then come back to center. Let's step to the center of our mat. We're going to step out at a 45-degree angle, push off, switch sides. Focusing on knee, staying in line with toes, coming as far forward as comfortable for you, keeping the heel down. Really exploring our movement. And then come back to center, step out to the side and back in, other side. Really shooting the hips back, keeping our back flat. And come back up, lift one knee, open up our hips, and step back in, other side. Keeping our weight centered, so we're moving within our center of gravity. Feeling our hips open and close. And then come back to center, step one foot back. This time your heel's going to be lifted and your front knee is going to bend. Push off, step back. Incorporating toes, ankle, calf. Kind of just explore your movement. If you'd like to go a little bit deeper, you can start to bend your back knee, maybe drawing it down to the floor. And step forward, front of our mat. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Walk both feet back. Lower all the way down. Cobra, opening our heart. Downward facing duck. Walking forward, front of our mat. And fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Rise all the way up. Hands come to heart center. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, fold. Right foot steps back. Rise all the way up. And then I want you to tuck your tailbone. So feel your hips scoop underneath. Keep shooting your back foot back. So you're feeling your hips tip and legs straighten. Stretching across the front of our hip. And hands come to heart center, lean forward, straightening our back leg, driving our heel back. And step forward. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, fold. Left foot steps back. Front knee is bent. Rise all the way up. Tucking our tailbone, scooping it underneath you, feeling the front of your ribs hug in. Driving our back heel back. Hands come together in front of our heart. Lean forward halfway. Keep driving your heel down. Front knee remains bent. Hands come down. Step forward and fold. Take a moment to bring your hands to your upper arms, allowing your body to hang, releasing tension to the back of our body. And releasing our hands down, let's step our right foot back, lower our knee down, walk our left foot out a little bit wider than hip width distance apart. Grab a hold of your blocks. And then we're going to press our hips forward and down. Stretching across the front of our right hip. Keeping our front knee in line with our toes. It's okay if our toes turn out a little bit. Checking in to see if we have a neutral spine. And slowly lift our hips away from the floor. Draw our hips back towards the back of our mat. We can take our blocks with if we like. We're straightening our front leg, tipping our tailbone up, opening up our chest. Noticing that our leg is out, not necessarily in line with our hip, but out to the side a little bit. You can stay here, you can lift your toes, flex your foot, and then extend again. Flexing and extending. And this particular movement is what is called a nerve glide. And you're just allowing your muscles and your nerves to kind of float together the same way they would in normal movement, but without the weight bearing. In a full stretch. Just trying to get everything to move as it should, gently through the back of our leg. And put our toes down and hold. Let's walk our blocks forward. Step our left knee back, right foot forward and outside our shoulder. Let our knee stay in line with our toes. Let our hips soften down. Feel our chest reaching forward. Check in with our back foot. Toes should be pointing back. Lengthening across the front of our left hip, compressing our right hip. Then lifting our hips, draw our hips back. You can walk your blocks back. Keeping your toes turned out, we're straightening our right leg to what honors us. Allowing our hips to tip forward, tailbone to rise up. That allows you to move deeper into the stretch. An option to flex our foot and relax our leg down. Flex and point. And one more time, then putting our foot down, bend our knee. Let's take our blocks to the front of our mat, stack one on top of the other. Hands come down. We're going to slide our knees back, draw our hips back to child's pose. On our next inhale, come back up. Push your blocks forward so that they're out of the way. Come onto your belly. Keep your blocks handy because you're going to need them in a little bit. And then we're going to take our arms out at that 45-degree angle. Turn our thumbs up, pinkies down. Then lower our forehead down to the mat. And take a moment to soften so that you can allow your spine to soften to what's neutral in this variation of a position. Noticing that the shape of the front of our body will make a difference in how we feel lying on our belly. Now from this position, we're going to lift our thumbs up towards the ceiling at that 45-degree angle. Keep our head down and just lifting our arms, making sure that we're not shrugging our shoulders. So our shoulder blades are pulling down our back. And then lower down, let our hands come down to the floor and relax. On our next inhale, lift our thumbs up, draw them up to the ceiling, keeping our shoulder blades on our back firm, creating space from our ears to the top of our shoulders. Lower down, relax, and inhale, lift back up. Exhale, lower. Keeping that 45-degree angle. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Continue to flow your breath, your speed. Find one more. And lower down and relax. Slide our hands forward. So they're pointing straight forward in line with our mat. Palms are facing down. Slide our hands out to the side. By the time you get to about your shoulders, flip your palms up. Slide your hands back. Bring your thumbs to the side of your legs.
Then inhale, hands come forward. Flip your palms when you get to your shoulders again. And then slide your hands forward towards the front of your mat. Inhale, flipping palms, drawing your arms back. And slowly draw your hands forward. Continuing to flow. Listening to the rotation of your arms within your shoulders as you flow. Attempt to keep your arms straight if you can. You have enough room to do so. And if it feels okay with your shoulders. Keeping your shoulder blades firm on your back. You're not elevating your shoulders. And then the next time your hands get forward, you're going to hold. Make sure that your shoulder blades are on your back. They have space between your shoulders and your ears. Lift your head, turn your gaze forward. Press your hands into the floor, rise up. Start to slide your hands back, lifting your chest, moving only within your functional range of movement. No pain, no discomfort. Then slowly slide forward, lowering your forehead down. And inhale, slide up. Exhale, slide back down. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, rise up one more time. Exhale, lower down. Take a moment to pause. Slide your hands underneath your forehead. From this position, lift our head. Turn our gaze forward. Hands come forward, slide your elbows in, walk them back until they're underneath your shoulders. So we're setting up for Sphinx pose. On our next exhale, tuck our chin, round our upper back, mid back, begin to lift your belly up off the floor. And then slowly lower your belly down, lengthen across your belly, open your chest, maybe turn your chin up. And exhale, tucking our chin, rounding our upper back, mid back, flattening our lower back. And then slowly opening the front of our body. And exhaling, closing the front of our body. Bring our heart forward again. You have the option to make this a little more challenging if you like. On our next exhale, tucking our chin, rounding our back, drive our elbows into the mat, drive our knees into the mat, lift our hips. And slowly lower our hips, lengthen across our belly, open up our chest, lift our chin up. And exhaling, tucking our chin, rounding our back, maybe lift our hips. And lower our hips, open up our chest. And a couple more times. And last one.
And lower our hips, open up our chest. Press our hands into the floor, draw our elbows out to the side, slide our hands underneath our forehead, and relax, allowing our head to kind of shift back a little bit. Getting really soft through our upper back, mid back. And sliding our hands around to the side of our chest. Hug our bellies in, press up to all fours. Grab a hold of our blocks. We're going to place them at the front of our mat, one stacked on top of the other, and we're going to be putting our chest on these blocks. So we want them in a place that honors us, preferably a little bit higher for women, lower for men. We're going to place them towards the front of our mat, and we're going to set up for a supported chaturanga, so a low push-up. So put your chest on the blocks, then tuck your elbows in, and then open up your chest a little bit. Knees are going to be behind you, so make sure this is comfortable. If this does not feel good in the upper part of your chest, slide it down so that it's at your upper part of your ribs, just below your belly button, or above your belly button, sorry. Whatever variation you prefer. Either way, remember your T-Rex arms. So if you were to have your hands behind you, your elbows drawing up, and your shoulders in front of your hands are going to be on the floor there. So spread your fingers wide, and then turn your heart forward. You're holding here with a flat back. Then I'm going to ask you to hold on to this position, strengthening your back. Knees are staying behind you. Elbows tucking into the side of your ribs. Then start to press your hands into the floor. Get your arms strong. Then relax your arms. Press your hands again, elbows into your side. We're just strengthening and prepping our arms and shoulders for a chaturanga. It doesn't mean that's what we're doing today. We're just kind of gathering this information in our mind and our body, waking it up, and then relax. And one more time. Press. Elbows are hugging in, shoulder blades firm on your back, heart staying open, and then relax. Walk your hands forward a little bit. Press up and back to child's pose. You can support it with blocks. So if you prefer to have blocks underneath you, underneath your forehead, feel free to do so. If you want to take knees wide, feel free to do so. And then once you get into this position, turn your palms up. Let your hands relax. Let your wrists soften. Maybe making fists with our hands and extending our fingers. Making a fist and extending. Make a fist and extend. Just continue as it feels right for you. Your hands can completely relax if that's what you prefer. And relax your hands. Walk your hands underneath your shoulders, press yourself up. We're going to take one of our blocks to our right side and then one to the left, just so that we have them available for us as we get ready to move into our next postures. Come to an all fours position, fingers are spread wide. And then we're going to extend our right leg out to the side. And I want to make sure that your block is about underneath your knee. You're not using it yet, but just there so when you need it. We're opening up the inside of our right thigh, our right hip across the front of our hips. And once you get in this position and it starts to relax and feels comfortable, I want you to lift your tailbone up
Tip your hips forward and hold. Open up your heart. Then we're going to bend our knee and put our knee on the block, sliding our foot back behind us. So we're keeping the same position, but we're shortening our lever length, so the length of our leg. Now I want you to hug your ribs in, flatten your back, lift your right knee up off the block. Put it back down. Slide your right knee underneath you. Draw your right hip to the side. Turn your shoulders to the left. Then bring your hip back. Extend your right leg out again. Let your hips soften. Tip your belly towards the floor. So you're moving into cow pose. Tailbone goes up, heart opens. Then bend our knee, put it on the block. Shoot our foot back. Doesn't have to be perfectly aligned. It's just going that direction. Let our hips soften. Then lift our right knee up. Put our right knee down. Hike our hip up. Put our right knee on the floor. Shoot our hips to the right, shoulders to the left. Come back. We're going to do that one more time. Right leg out to the side. Hip softens down. Toes point forward. Find that cow pose. Put our knee on the block, slide our foot back. Check in. Have you lost your form? Hug our ribs in. Lift our right knee. Lower our right knee. Put it on the floor. Shoot our hips to the right, shoulders to the left. Come back to center. Extend our left leg out to the side. Block is going to come underneath our knee. Slide our left foot away until we're pretty much hips are level. We're going that direction. If your hands are bothering you, take fists for wrists. Find our cow pose. Then bend our left knee, put it on the block. Foot comes back, so same thing we did on the other side. Hug our belly in. So we're no longer in cow pose, we're in a neutral spine. Lift our left knee up. Put our left knee on the floor. Shoot our hips to the left, shoulders to the right. Come back to center. Left leg extends out. Find cow pose, opening up our heart. Bend our left knee, put it on the block. Let our hips soften again, hug our ribs in. So we're just setting up our hip for this position. That's what the block is for. Reminding our hips that they're staying open, but moving from core strength this time, lift our left knee. Don't draw it forward. You're keeping it in line with the block. Put your knee on the floor, shoot your hips to the left, shoulders to the right. And come back up. Lengthening our left leg. Move into cow pose. Opening up our heart, lengthening across our belly, tipping our pelvis down, lengthening the inside of our left thigh and across the front of our hip.
Bend our knee, put it on the block. Hug our ribs in so we're in a neutral spine. Lift our left knee up. Try not to shoot your hips to the right. Lower our left knee down. Shoot our hips to the left, shoulders to the right. Come back up. Let's crawl forward to the front of our mat. Cross our ankles, flip over onto our back. Move our blocks down a little bit. Bend our knees one at a time. Arms are going to relax out for a moment. I want your shoulders to get really relaxed and heavy. Feel our head neutral, neck neutral. Back of our shoulders resting on the floor. Should have a neutral spine as well. Then walk our feet in close together. So big toes are touching. Squeeze our legs together. Lift our hips up off the mat. Moving into a variation of bridge pose. Slowly lower our hips down and lift them back up. If this is uncomfortable for you in any way, then walk your feet back out, hip width distance apart. Let's lower back down and flow, lifting up and lowering. Make any adjustments you need to find comfort. Maybe you don't lift as high. Then come back down, walk our feet out, hip width distance apart. Lift our hips back up. Keep our knees in line with our toes. Noticing our range of motion is different. Honoring our body, moving in a fashion that feels good for us. One more time. Lower down. We're going to walk our feet out a little bit wider than hip width distance apart. Knees still stay in line with toes. Lift our hips up. And lower down. Keeping the curve of our low back the entire time. Spine staying neutral. The only thing that's really changing here is gravity and the way our legs move in our hips. The shape of our spine stays the same, most of it. The neck and the upper back changes a little bit. Let's find one more time. And come back down. We're going to keep our feet wide, use our blocks, put them underneath our knees. As we extend our legs, and we're moving into Shavasana. Closing our eyes, allowing our palms to face up. Drawing our awareness back to our bodies. Let our breath begin to deepen, inviting energy back into our body. And find movement in our hands and feet, our wrists and ankles. Begin to bend our knees. Push our props off to the side. Roll over to our right side. Press ourselves up. And find our way back to a comfortable seat. As we rise up tall, feel the balance between the front of our ribs hugging in, our shoulders rolling back, and everything aligned over the top of our hips, from our head to our shoulders to our rib cage. Let our elbows rest underneath our shoulders. Notice how this feels. Draw our hands together in front of our heart, sealing in everything that we connected with in this practice today. From the moments you stabilized, where you became strong, to the moments where you were able to let go. All of it is important. From the mindfulness of movement, the breath, every component of this practice, whether it was too difficult or too easy, all gave us opportunities to check in and to respond in ways that improve our body, our mind, and our breath. Namaste.